towards the policy of one international and one China, and then we'd like to invite like our Vice President and Pro-Vice-Chancellor about teaching and learning, Professor Ian Holliday, today with us to discuss the policy. And then also we have invited Dr. Albert Chau, the Dean of Student Affairs, to join this discussion with us. And then the reason why like the unions would like to organize this forum is because we found that the one international, one China policy is quite a controversial one, and then many students give the feedback both like support or like show their objectives at all. So we would like to do this public forum to like let all, including our students, staff, and then the public to show their awareness and then their opinions towards the policy. So actually, if Professor Ian Holliday will have some like opening address to issue first. Okay, sure. So Professor Holliday, thank you.
Thanks very much, Arika, and thanks also to the Students' Union for making this event possible today. There's just two things I want to say at the beginning, and then maybe we can open it up to Q&A. So the first is just to state as clearly as I can the position that we take on this issue. That is that we remain committed to the vision, not the plan, but the vision of opening up for our students quality learning experiences in China and overseas. We project that by 2019, 4 years from now, 50% of our undergraduate students will complete at least one China and one international learning experience. And we aim by 2022, 7 years from now, to open up sufficient opportunities for 100% of our undergraduate students to engage in one China and one international learning experience. We do not mandate that the 2022 commitment be turned into a graduation requirement. And moving forward, all operational details will be worked out in close consultation with students and other key stakeholders. So I'd like to say that as our position. I've also got a message from the President. He's currently traveling on university business, but we emailed last night, and I have a message from him which I'd like to share with you. And in fact, I can distribute, I can give a copy to Arika. So these are the President's words, not mine. I'm reading them out to share with you. We have no intention of forcing students to do something they don't want to do. In the ADP endorsed by Senate, the university makes a commitment to open up sufficient opportunities for 100% of our undergraduate students to engage in one China and one international learning experience by 2022. There is no stipulation that learning experiences in China and overseas will be compulsory or become part of the graduation requirement for all undergraduates. We're determined to offer our students an expanding range of quality learning opportunities beyond Hong Kong. We believe all of our students will benefit from traveling and working outside Hong Kong. So that, as I said, is a message from President and Professor Peter Matt.
So thank you, Professor Holliday. And then actually, we can find that before, like both in the high-level dinner and then after the meetings with the student representatives, actually the public and then the students concerned that actually there are like several discrepancy towards like when turning at the beginning. The school would like to turn the policies mandatory one, but instead now it's like elective. Would you mind like to like having more elaboration on it? Thank you.
I think the key thing in terms of the policy is, or the vision or the position or whatever, is what the Senate paper says. Everything at the University of Hong Kong is guided by Senate. Senate is the overarching academic policy committee in the university. So everything is guided by what the Senate paper says. Now, I shared with you on Monday, I'd be happy to share with you again today. There are about 50 words in our ADP. The ADP is 12,000 words total. There are about 50 words in the ADP and only about 50 words that deal with this issue. And they say that we aim by 2022 to open up opportunities for our students. They don't say anything. There's no mention of compulsory, no mention of mandates, no mention of graduation requirements. Simply a visionary aim by 2022 to create these opportunities. So this is a commitment that the university is entering into to make things possible. It's not a commitment that is in any sense imposed on students, as the President said. If you'd like me to read that, I've got it here as well. Would you like me to read it or?
Actually, I think
You've got it on your Facebook. If anybody would like to take a look, it's on your Facebook.
yes, and I guess like in the previous time, the campus media or different public media have already like published the full version from the ADP and all. So I think actually maybe the floor would know actually briefly about the plan. And then for like second part, actually we talked whether why the policy is one international and one mainland instead of like really just one or two international experience at all, and why like the mainland would be one of the exclusive elements towards the plan. Would you like to briefly tell us more? Thank you.
So the shortest way really of encapsulating our vision for future development, and this is way beyond the current ADP, is, as I said, signaling where we're going with all of this. The shortest way of putting that is that we seek to nurture global citizens with China knowledge. Just those 5 words. Global citizens with China knowledge. This is what we seek to do. And we believe that this will be of great value to our students as they move into other parts of their life once they've moved beyond Hong Kong U. We believe that our students need both the global and the China awareness. We actually believe that that's true of students all over the world. As I said on Monday, we think and we know that many of the universities in North America, in Western Europe, in Australia, are looking precisely at the same twinning of global knowledge, global citizenship, China knowledge. We happen to be supremely well positioned to deliver on that. Here we are in Hong Kong. We can open up outstanding learning opportunities in China for our students through our contacts, through our positioning, and through our existing experience. We've been doing this for years, both faculty-driven, student-driven. We've got a wonderful track record. We want to build on that for the future and make our programs ever stronger.
Thank you again, thank you, Professor Holliday. But I guess in the current plan, maybe the school or different learning experience or any exchange opportunity have already like over both international and mainland. So why I guess the school would like to plan like really needs to provide with 100% students with both of the opportunity, because it concerning about like the resources or actually the nature or the orientation of the school. So we would like to talk about a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks very much. As I said, that is our vision. Global citizens with China knowledge is our vision. And if we believe in that, and we truly do believe in that, then we need to provide for it. I should say one thing about resources. If we open up opportunities to go and do an internship anywhere in the world, which are not taken, then there's no real resource implications. There's a little tiny bit in that maybe I traveled to meet with the internship partner and to set that up, and then I came back. And if nothing comes of that, my travel time and the resource invested in me going there was wasted. But this is not like laying on or recruiting people to come here on campus to do things for us, and if nobody shows up in their classroom, we've wasted that investment. This is opening up basically networks, strategic partnerships, community partnerships to enable our students to get the best possible experiential learning, internships, exchange programs, all of these things. We already have a lot of exchange programs, for instance, which are not 100% full. We lose nothing from that. We have better networks. We have the opportunity from one year to the next. 1 year, maybe 2 students go. the next year 4 students go. It doesn't matter that only 2 went 1 year. That doesn't cost us anything in terms of resource.
But actually some students will worry about that, whether actually when we open learning experience or exchange program with those mainland cooperations or institutions, actually in return that maybe many mainland students or actually many international students would exchange back to Hong Kong U and for seeking further opportunities. But so actually have the school concern more about the feasibility of the plan, and actually maybe the feasibility will hinder the plans to go on actually.
Right, so the only aspect of all of the overseas learning opportunities that we do offer students currently and that we plan to offer in the future, the only aspect that's reciprocal is exchange. So everything else, again, we send somebody to work with World Vision or Mercy Corps in Beijing. Nobody comes back. Nothing comes back to our campus. So there is no reciprocity there. The basis of the deal is that our students actually add value to their organization. We gain a learning opportunity for one of our students. They gain what our students invest in their organization. So that's the two-way trade, if you like, there. So the only one that actually means more people coming here to Hong Kong U is exchange agreements. And so far, that doesn't overload us, because at the same time as somebody's coming in, there's somebody gone away. I mean, there is somebody who is now in the UC system. We now have a student, in fact we have 100 students maybe, in the University of California system, and in return we have 100 students from UC on our campus. The numbers come out absolutely even. That's the basis of an exchange agreement actually. Is that it's an even resourcing for the benefit of students on both sides.
So now we have already talked about some backgrounds or mission of the plans, but actually maybe more the public or the students would concern about whether the plan is actually fully consulted and by both students or even staff. Because we can hear that some the professor in the Senate would show their doubts on the feasibility of the plan, and also many students have never heard of the plan. Even just right after the Heidelberg dinners, what Professor Holliday briefly talk about the plan, and then everyone knows it. So can you really elaborate actually how the plan is consulted, and whether do you think the consultation to students is sufficient enough?
Right, no, I don't think it was sufficient. I think we can always do better in terms of involving our students and in terms of trying to embrace student opinion. Of course, there are many key stakeholders in the university. There are our colleagues, our students, our alumni, our friends. All of these need to be taken into consideration. My own feeling is that currently we have two elected undergraduate student reps on Senate and one full-time postgraduate student. And we need to do more to supplement that kind of student engagement. So I've said to you that I'm very keen to engage with students as much as possible. I did an equivalent of this, less well attended, exactly 3 months ago. So on January the 23rd, I sat here with your predecessors, the previous EXCO in the Students' Union. And we had a sharing, and I talked about the different components of my vision, my agenda for teaching and learning, and this was one of the components. But there's definitely more that we can do. Just one other thing, I don't want to speak too long in addressing this question, but for the last few weeks I've been undertaking a benchmarking study of how other universities do seek to engage students in the policy formulation process. So we're a member of a grouping called U21, Universitas 21. I'm doing a comprehensive evaluation of what they do to consult opinion from students, to proactively engage with students. And once that's done, I'll be using it as a template or as a basis for, again, talking with you, meeting with students in whatever is the most productive way possible.
So I think not only like the conventional consulting way to give us benefits or sufficient, and actually the reason why we hold this public forum is like to open to the floor and to let everyone and every student to show their objection. So actually now we would like to open the discussion to the floor, and if you have any question, please raise up your hand, and then our union executive or any helper would deliver a microphone to you and then to let you deliver your questions. Any questions from the floor?
Well, okay. I'm a university staff here. I heard that university students in China had to go through some sort of a military training. I'm not too sure I'm right. So in that case, in the future cooperation, and will students involved in this sort of non-academic activity?
That's the first time I've ever heard that mentioned in any discussion I've had of future learning pathways for our students. So absolutely not. As I say, I've never heard that mentioned before, and I've had many meetings and conversations about where we're going, what we're doing, how we aspire to develop our programs. I've never heard of that before.
I'm the alumna. I want to ask Professor a question. Actually, there are many students in Hong Kong coming from mainland already, and for they have been to China many times with their families or relatives. So what's the point of asking them to go to China this time? Because they've been to China for many times. It seems it's a joke and a waste of taxpayers' money to ask them to go back to China.
Right, so roughly 10% of our undergraduate students come from mainland China, 90% do not. The reason why we're interested in developing this policy is to seek out outstanding learning opportunities. Going to China is itself educational. Going anywhere in the world is itself educational. But we are seeking to develop really outstanding partnerships with, say, community-based organizations, NGOs, companies, to enable our students to have experience of, say, working in a business in China, working in an NGO in China, taking part in a project. We do this already. When I was Dean of Social Sciences, we had internships with KPMG Shanghai, with Mercy Corps in Beijing. I took students to teach English as part of my MOE program in Yunnan and Anhui. And beyond that, we've had the Mingde project in engineering. We have the China Education Group, which goes back 20 or 30 years, student-led to teach English in poor parts of China. We have so many things going on, and when I talk to students who've done those programs, the feedback is uniformly excellent. That they really grew as individuals, that they gained a lot of knowledge themselves, and they were able to give something to the communities they worked with. This is what we want to build on.
I think it's okay if you make it optional, but making it compulsory would not be necessary. And the second thing is for the 10% you've just mentioned, I guess it's an underestimate, because there are many mainland students came to Hong Kong probably 6 or 7 years, and then they came to University of Hong Kong. And the 10% I guess is the direct number, or the number directly coming from mainland. So I guess it's not an accurate estimate. And thirdly, I want to ask Professor, if you make it compulsory, how can you make sure the safety of the students in mainland? Because everyone knows that the medical system in mainland is not very good. And if you're injured or severely injured or caught in an accident, if you cannot pay, the doctors don't want to cure you. So someone went into an accident in Chau, for example, how could you save the children's life?
Thanks. As I said, it's not compulsory. I made an opening statement when I made that clear. This is not a compulsory, there's no mandate. You're right that the 10% number that I quoted is recruited from the mainland. I wouldn't have additional data on the other students. For the third part, I'm going to turn over to Albert, because Albert is the director of CEDARS, and CEDARS has been working for years to provide learning opportunities beyond the campus, and so he's very expert in those sorts of arrangements.
Thank you, students, Erica, for organizing this forum again. I just want to provide some background on our work, how we arrange these learning opportunities. Our colleagues said, will there be any non-academic activities? I have to say that we have engaged students in a full range of learning experiences. Some, of course, some of them will go to academic institutions. Maybe you consider those as academic, but they also go on to say internships, study tours, a lot of service learning projects, experiential learning projects. The line between what is academic and what is not academic is actually quite blurred, but we all see these as beneficial experiences to our students. Of course, many of our students have a lot of experience in China, but when we arrange a learning opportunity, not only in China, but elsewhere in the world as well, we actually go through a lengthy process of discussion, negotiation with our partner. When we send our students, or before we send our students, we engage them in dialogue. For example, what sort of exposure, what sort of activities our partners will engage our students in. And as Professor Holliday said, in return, we also make sure that our students will be able to make a contribution to our partner. Otherwise, the partnership won't last. If we just take benefits without making a contribution, then this kind of partnership is not going to last for very long. So we have to ensure that our students can learn, and that our students can also make a contribution to our partners. And most of the time, during the engagement, we also send our colleagues to our partners. Not only in mainland, our colleagues will fly to New York, will fly to Europe to ensure that our students are indeed getting the kind of learning experiences that we were engage them into. We engage them into. So, and then we also, at the end of the learning experience, we engage the partner in evaluation, and then we talk to the students, we ask them to submit effective journals. And in case of practical learning activities, of course, colleagues in the faculties and the departments will also do assessment as a formal part of the curriculum. So we are not just sending students away, we indeed make sure that the learning experience is beneficial. Coming back to the point on safety, my colleagues and I can testify to you, we are very, very concerned. Actually, 365 days in a year, 24 hours a day. Our students are now all over the world. And anytime, any given hour, my mobile phone can ring. And then they could do some easy. We sent students to New York, there was a blackout. We sent students to London, there was a blast of the buses. We had students in India and Pakistan who were trapped in floods. Okay, that's why when we engage with our partners, we also make sure that they will help us to evacuate our students and provide assistance whenever something happens. It doesn't have to be a catastrophe. It doesn't have to be an accident. Students may fall sick, as simple as that. They may twist an ankle, okay? So we need to help them. And then in the last few months, we are the first university in Hong Kong to take international SOS. We now have a formal scheme so that all our students and staff, when they travel, even though they are not traveling on university-arranged schemes, they are protected by SOS. It's not the same as insurance. SOS is on-site, immediate help. So if they twist an ankle, we can call a number, they can be sent to a hospital. And then we will be notified. And then we can notify the government, we can notify all sorts of resources that we can mobilize to help the students on the spot. So this is the kind of support we try to provide. I'm not pretending it's going to be perfect, but we are trying every means to ensure that when we send our students out, we are responsible. We know.
Good afternoon, Professor Holliday and Chau. I'd like to understand after the student movement last year and like the umbrella revolution, etc., a lot of students they cannot go back to the mainland and they return home early. In fact, afterwards. So I'd like to know is it a justified reason according to the president that not going back to the mainland? Thank you.
I think the key thing is that we're always looking to open up the best learning opportunities for our students. For those students who are not able to access mainland China, we will look for outstanding opportunities for them everywhere else in the world. We do have some direct experience of some students who are not able to access the mainland, and we deal with those on a case-by-case basis. I think maybe Albert will be a better place to speak.
All these cases are very unique. It's just part of our support system. If they have difficulties in whatever sense, we would mobilize all the support actions that we have within the university, our alumni network, or the government to help these students. Again, I would not pretend that we succeeded on every case, but we have tried our very best on every case. But at the end of the day, it is beyond. If at the end of the day it is indeed beyond our capability, then as Professor Holliday said, we always provide alternatives for our students to complete their learning experience. To achieve the goal, there is not just one way. There are usually multiple ways to do the same thing.
One small follow-up on the question that in case our students will go back to the mainland to sort of like bring the dragon iron flag or the banner like around universal suffrage, and they caught detention by the mainland, how the school to support and help them?
I will see this as a more general question than directly related to what we are discussing here. Because we already have hundreds, if not thousands, of students going or traveling between Hong Kong and mainland every year. And in the past, I can indeed tell you that we have received news reports saying that our students got into some legal trouble. Okay. So what we did was we went to the government, we went through all our connections in that particular city. We try to identify the students, and then we try to help the students to come back to Hong Kong. I encountered a few cases like those. Fortunately, in all those cases, our students were able to get back to Hong Kong within a very short period of time. A lot of these things are done quietly, okay? Again, it is not just about legal trouble. As I said, as I answered the other question, induced sickness, all these are very common issues that we have to fix. And again, I just want to remind that it is not just about China, it is about everywhere across the world. Our students get into legal trouble. Our students get into sickness. The past with the student, Japan was safe. I spent 4 days before I could talk to each of the 16 students who were on exchange when tsunami hit Japan in 2011. So that was the life we were living.
Good afternoon, Professor Holliday and Dr. Chau. According to the comments of Professor Peter Matheson to the SCMP, he said that only students with justified reasons can exempt from the mainland exchange program. This obviously implies that the program is mandatory in my opinion. But as you said, Professor Holliday, the program is not mandatory at all. So how would you explain such contradictory speech between you and Professor Matheson?
There's no contradiction there. Professor Matheson was talking about the cases where we do require students to go to the mainland within, for instance, an existing program. We have the Bachelor of Chinese Medicine, which has a mainland component. Now, we would need to deal with issues of exemption if a student really couldn't access the mainland. There's a very substantial component in the final year of the BCM program, which is in the mainland. We have the same thing in architecture. There's another undergraduate program there which has a learning component in the mainland. So this doesn't mean that every student at Hong Kong U is going to be required to go to the mainland. It means that within specific programs we sometimes develop core components which are in the mainland, and so that raises the issue of the exemption. That's all that's being talked about there.
I would like to have one more follow-up question. But according to the more recent reply from Professor Matheson to the campus TV, he didn't mention anything about any other programs like in Chinese medicine or Faculty of Architecture. So how would you interpret his reply to the campus TV on that?
Exactly as I just told you. I don't think that there was anything. I read his comments in campus TV. I didn't see anything there. He was talking about flexibility, he was talking about choice, he was talking about opportunity, and he was talking about exactly what I've been saying, which is giving our students the chance to be nurtured as global citizens with China knowledge. I could read the President's message again. There's many more people here now than when I started. At the beginning, I could maybe just repeat that. It'll only take me 1 minute. So this is from President Peter Matheson, sent to me by email overnight. We have no intention of forcing students to do something they don't want to do. In the ADP endorsed by Senate, the university makes a commitment to open up sufficient opportunities for 100% of our undergraduate students to engage in One China and One International Learning Experience by 2022. There is no stipulation that learning experiences in China and overseas will be compulsory or become part of the graduation requirements for all undergraduates. We're determined to offer our students an expanding range of quality learning opportunities beyond Hong Kong. We believe all of our students will benefit from travelling and working outside Hong Kong. So as I said, those are the words of the President sent to me by email overnight to share with you in this forum.
Good afternoon, Professor Holliday. According to the survey conducted by Campus TV recently, 90% of the participants oppose to this plan. As there are so many students opposing to this program, will school consider withdrawing it? If the answer is no, under what circumstance will school withdraw this plan?
My understanding is that the Campus TV survey focused on exchange in mainland China. I think that was the question. Albert knows the wording better than I do, but I think the question that was asked was about compulsory exchange in mainland China. Now what we're talking about is neither compulsory nor exchange necessarily in mainland China. We're talking about opening up a wide range of opportunities in mainland China and the wider world, none of which is compulsory, all of which are going to be opportunities. And in taking forward the plan, I mean, we're right at the start of this. We've got 7 years until 2022. 7 years for us to put in place an actual set of arrangements which will then be able to, our students of that generation will be able to make use of. Now in those 7 years we've got a lot of work to do. At the moment I'm just in a stock-taking phase. So I'm trying to find out what we do currently. I'm visiting the faculties, I'll be talking to students, I'll be talking to Albert in Cedars. What do we do right now? What do our students do when they go beyond Hong Kong? I just need to know about that. When we've done that, I'll then be in a position to start sharing it and to start actually working out where there are some gaps in our provision, what the resource needs might be, and then moving forward to actually develop a plan. So we have no plan at the moment. We are trying to work everything out. I think it's going to take me another 6 months to complete the stock taking. So hopefully by the end of this calendar year I'll be done, and then we can move on to the next phase.
Good afternoon, Professor Holliday.
或者我知道都多人或者我講中文講多條問題先啦。咁其實咧，即係學術發展計劃咧，本身咧係喺即係決定港大咧嚟緊喺 UGC 即係大學資助教育資助委員會嗰個喺學額回配入邊會唔會獲得額外嘅資助啦？咁所以咧 Professor Ian Holliday 咧講到咧就係話佢將佢 vision 寫喺呢個 ADP 入邊咧，其實即係。如果係想用單係用一個 vision 而冇一個 concrete plan 喺 UGC 入邊咧攞一個 extra funding 嘅話咧，咁大家覺得究竟明唔明合唔合理咧咁樣？咁我嘗試問一問即係 Professor Ian Holliday。Good afternoon, Professor Ian Holliday. According to my own knowledge, the nature of the ADP proposal is to bid for extra funding in the competitive allocation in UGC. So I would wonder if you could really simply using a vision to win or to bid for extra funding in UGC. If no, if simply vision is enough, how could you justify that? If no, are there any concrete plan in order to gain extra funding from UGC? Do you think it makes sense?
Okay, so first of all, on what we're bidding for through the ADP, we're bidding for quota. So that is resource, but it's at a per capita fixed amount. So we're bidding for additional quota. The way that the ADP exercise works is the UGC top slice is 6% from existing quota allocated to all institutions. So we all go down to 94%. The 6% from every institution goes into a pool. Across the 8 institutions, all of their 6% go into the pool, and we then, all 8 institutions, we bid for that quota back. We might get nothing back, but obviously we hope to get a lot back. But what we get back is not just dollars. It's dollars attached to new student quota, new student places. And so that is on a fixed per capita amount. If we get another 100 quota, that'll be at the fixed amount per student that the UGC uses in its formula. So that's what we're bidding for. Then what is the status? As I said, the ADP commitment that is relevant to our discussion today is roughly 50 words. The ADP itself is 12,000 words. So this is 50 words out of 12,000. What the 50 words is part of is an early chapter which is setting out our strategic priorities and vision. And we have 3 strategic priorities. One is internationalization, the second is innovation, and the third is impact. And what we're talking about today is just one element of internationalization. So that is just telling the UGC the path that we're taking, the aspirations that we have. Chapter 4 of the ADP, which I guess is about 1/4 or 1/3 of the entire document, goes program by program, making the bid for quota. So we have dozens of academic programs, of undergraduate programs at Hong Kong U, and every single one of them, we make a bid for quota related to that program, with arguments specific to that program. Now we need both parts of that to work. We need the program level, detailed arguments about why we should get more quota for this program. We need also the bigger picture, which tells the UGC, yes, the BSOC Sci program, we understand what you're saying about that, but we also understand the bigger picture of what Hong Kong U as an entire campus organization, as an entire institution, where it's heading, what it's doing, and what its aspirations are. So that's how the ADP exercise works.
If I can second a little bit, the discussion we are focusing on the 100% learning opportunities is for 2022, which is actually beyond the duration of the academic development plan that we submitted for. The plan is for 2016 to 2019. So we get very detailed planning for that one. As Professor Ian Holliday said, we have programs at the program level, how many places in each program. But for 2022, we provide a vision. So it is not quite the same.
Thank you for your answer, Professor Holliday. So you have mentioned that the ADP proposal actually consists of
12,000 of words, and you have just disclosed around 50 words to us. So would you like to disclose all ADP proposals in order to facilitate the discussion among the students and the universities? Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Billy. I was asked that question on Monday when we met on Monday afternoon, and so I've taken the opportunity since then to check with the university authorities whether I can disclose the other 11,950 words of the ADP publicly. And the answer is no, I cannot. I mean, our understanding from UGC is that there are confidential items in the ADP which should not be made public, but also we ourselves, we are making a competitive bid for UGC quota, and we are not prepared to share that publicly at this stage. So it's a sensitive document. This is also the convention across all 8 institutions. ADPs are confidential documents between the institution and the UGC, and they are not made public. This is part of an ongoing conversation between the UGC and all of the 8 institutions, and this aspect is confidential. What we will be able to do in the future as we move ahead and we start to actually plan to deliver on our vision for the future for 2022, we will be taking papers to Senate for delivering on that vision. They are not part of the ADP, they will not be part of the future ADP, but they will be our own architecture for delivering on our ADP commitments. There's a lot of stuff that's in the current ADP and previous ADPs, like say the Common Core. The Common Core is a key part of planning for our 334 transition. That is fleshed out in Senate papers. So as we move ahead with working out where we are in terms of a stock taking, what the gaps are, what the resources are, and how we need to plan, when we get to that point, all of that will be done through Senate papers, and that will be something I really would like to consult students about as much as possible.
Professor Holliday, we actually have done so many things about this plan recently. Just want to clarify everything so we can understand it better. Actually, when another student has asked, I mean, now it's many times that response from you and from Peter, Professor Peter Matheson are sometimes not so inconsistent. So we want to clarify it a bit more now here. Actually, the email we sent to our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Peter Matheson, was we asked, this is the exact wording, when you talk about exception from mainland trips during the interview, what exactly were you referring to? Was it the 2022 One Mainland, One International plan? And then the response was as campus theory, as detailed in my comments to SCMP. By the way, it was not an interview, just an exchange of emails. Our aim is to offer opportunities outside Hong Kong to 100% of students by 2022. If individual student circumstances make it impossible for them to undertake such attachments, we will of course show flexibility and discuss their needs with them. So I don't see anything about other programs like the medicine program you mentioned as you interpret Dr. Peter Matheson's response a few minutes earlier. So we just want to clarify what was he really referring to in the interview.
Thank you very much, Moon. He's referring to opportunity, flexibility, and all of the keywords that he's using in that interview are exactly the same ones that are in the President's message that I read to you. And by the way, this is not my interpretation of what he said. This is what he said. These are his very words sent to me by email to read to you. So I can't rewrite them. This is what he wants you to know from us. I think it's very, very clear. There's no mention of, in fact, he says, again, there is no stipulation that learning experiences in China and overseas will be compulsory. He couldn't be more clear.
So there was nothing about other programs like the medicine program you mentioned a few minutes earlier.
Right, I mean, he doesn't have to go into all of that detail. I've got 2 hours to talk to you now. I've got time to go into plenty of detail and give you that, additional information. But sometimes, in fact, we do have programs that have a mainland China learning component. The president is extremely busy on his overseas trip. I guess if you really wanted to, you could send him an email saying, we have these other programs, blah, blah, blah. But frankly, I think we can take this as his position. He is intending this to be understood as exactly what he thinks. He's given me a precise form of words. He didn't send me an email saying, go for it, Ian. Just tell them what you've been speaking about this week or something. He said, here are some words I want you to convey to the students, to read out to the students. That's what I've done.
What I mean is just that when the existing program so distinct from the plan as this one is talking about. So when some different medicine is talking about the future plans, it's very this will likely to be related to the existing plan, as you said. If we can clarify this, I think we can understand this better.
The future plan is a future vision. The future plan is a future vision. There is no detailed plan. There are 50 words in an ADP. That's it. That's the only thing you'll find in any university documentation. Beyond that, there is the President's message, which very, very clearly states his position. I don't think I can say much more without, picking up the phone and asking him to speak to you directly.
Okay, then we will take the President's own interpretation. Thank you very much. And I was the President. Yes, I apologize to our schoolmates that Campus TV survey was using an inaccurate word of exchange. But it's actually, as Professor Ian Holliday said, it's more than exchange. It's exchange and our experience. And we have good exchange. But for the question about China, we didn't use the word compulsory. Thank you very much.
Professor Ian Holliday, and as you just mentioned, it takes 6 months for you to have a detailed plan about One International One Mainland plan. And I would like to ask, after 6 months, what will be the consultation plan before 2022?
It takes me 6 months just to work out what we're doing now, not to develop a plan. That will take even longer. But what I'm saying to you is that certainly by the end of the year, hopefully a little bit sooner, I will have a full kind of data set of what we're doing, how many students are going on exchange, how many students are doing other forms of experiential learning, all of this. And then we will have a fairly kind of fine-grained understanding of what we do right now. That is something that can be shared. That'll actually form a platform for us to move forward together in developing a plan. Now, I'm very much open to suggestion in terms of exactly what form student consultation should take. So, I myself said at the high table dinner on Friday that I'd be keen to have regular town hall meetings. Now, that's actually, the more common term is open forums. So I've already said that I'm very keen to have as open forums. Whether that's the best way to develop a plan, I think it's part of it. I think what we need going forward is this kind of, general conversation about where we're going and what we're doing. But to develop a plan, you obviously need a smaller group. We can't all of us write a plan, a Senate paper, for instance, together. So, I'm very interested in reaching out to students, whether I should be doing it with the Students' Union EXCO, whether it should be a different group. I'm honestly not sure. But again, we've got 6 months to be talking about that because it's going to take me that long to do the stock take.
Thank you, Professor. And I perceive that this plan, some of the plan, no matter in mainland or in other countries, it will be a plan for exchange by 2022. If there are too diverse in the opinions about a student, such as they don't want such experience or they want other places, if there is no consensus there is not a consensus among the students about this plan. Will this plan be withdrawn or to be changed to other kinds of experience?
Okay, so as I said, it's not just exchange. It's exchange plus a whole series of other things. I'm hoping that we'll be able to reach consensus across the campus. I have no idea how things are going to go. But this is our vision. You know, we have a vision of the global citizen with China knowledge as what we want to nurture. That's the vision that we have for our undergraduate students. If there is intense opposition to that, we'll have to start rethinking. But frankly, there's a lot of support for both of those things. Our students are already doing a lot of that. We project that by 2019, 50% of our students will be doing that. We're very confident in that projection, so confident we've put that projection in our ADP. And we're very close to that already. So, you know, my feeling is that a lot of students will want to embrace these learning opportunities we're opening up.
Of course, when we implement any policy or formulate any policy, we will consult all the people, and among them students will be a very important one. We hope to get a consensus. But at this particular point, I want to ask you a question. Now, the commitment is on the school's part. We want to make it 100% available to all those students who want to go to China and overseas to engage in a learning experience. If you don't want to go, but another student wants to go, why should the school, why should the university stop in providing this learning opportunity to the student who wants to go? That's my question. Now, on Monday afternoon, when we met the Senior Council, I shared our experience that every time we open up a program overseas or in mainland, usually we get more applicants, more interested students than the number of places we have. And every time we need to turn away students, I feel very bad. My colleagues and I feel very, very bad because these students are so motivated. They want to learn in a meaningful way, but we fail to make it happen for everyone who wants to do it. Then the question comes back, what sort of consensus do we want? If a student wants to go and we believe that is a good learning opportunity, why should not the school not provide it?
Good afternoon, Professor. I would like to ask two questions. First of all, is to reply to what my other I would want to ask I would want to say that ask whether by making the program compulsory, does it respect those who does not want to receive this opportunity?
We never said it is compulsory. We have made that very, very clear. We make the opportunities available for those who want to go to ensure that they will be able to go. We are not saying that everybody has to go. It's not compulsory.
And the second question I would like to ask is that because for this week, the focus has been shifting a lot between Professor Holliday and Professor Anderson. So I would like to ask, who has the final decision and who can fully represent this plan and be the spokesperson for this plan? I would like to seek this clarification. Thank you.
So as far as I'm aware, there's no conflict between what I'm saying and what the President is saying. Obviously, the President is the President of the university, but he works in a very collective way. He has a senior management team which meets weekly, and he consults with the SMT even more than weekly. There is also Senate, which is the ultimate body for all academic matters. So, as I said, in all of our discussions about this matter, the final authority is in fact Senate. Not the President, not me, not anybody else, it's Senate. And there are 50 words relating to what we're discussing today in our academic development proposal, and that's it. And those 50 words have been shared with you. They've been uploaded on Facebook. They're very well known to the Hong Kong youth community. That is the position.
So one more question. I want to ask whether your definition of global vision equals to China vision. Because by saying that there's one international and one mainland, it means that both international and mainland visions have equal weighting. So does it mean that does this mean that it's justifiable to have one international and one mainland things just because of geopolitical reasons, where China is kind of our Hong Kong's motherland?
As I say, global citizens with China knowledge. That's the most compressed way of saying what we're seeking. And we believe that for our students to be competitive in the job market when they leave Hong Kong U, for our students to be successful in their future careers, these are both good things for them to have. I should say that most of the learning that we will deliver at Hong Kong U will come from neither of these things. You know, in a standard program, you take 240 credits. You take a discipline, you get disciplinary knowledge in psychology or in biology or in medicine or dentistry. You get broadening general knowledge through the Common Core. And grafted on top of that, we would like you to have some direct knowledge of China and some direct knowledge of the world. And that is the package. But, you know, don't forget the foundations. The foundations are always going to be what you do here at Hong Kong U. That is going to be the most defining part of your normally four-year educational journey with us.
Good afternoon, Professor Holliday. And I'm actually a student from the Faculty of Social Sciences, and I have been appreciating much about the GCSI arrangement for social science students, because I guess it's essential for us to know more about different parts of the world, including China. So I guess I'm really supporting the plan of the expansion of the whole experience and experiential learning to the whole university. But then I was also studying undergraduate representative in the faculty board last year, and I did flip through the documents in the meeting in February, in which the faculty development plan was adopted. And I guess the faculty development plan was indeed in line with the ADP you have just mentioned as well. And I was able to spot one sentence stating that you expect all undergraduate or postgraduate students to have some sort of outgoing exchange experience, like in an area outside of Hong Kong, area in China, as well as area outside of China. And I'm just wondering, is these three elements are compulsory for all students, or is it okay for students to just go for a long distance?
Okay, so thank you very much. I haven't studied the FDP from social sciences in quite the same detail as you have. There is, for most undergraduate students in social sciences only, in that faculty, certainly for all students on the BSOC side, they must take at least 12 credits under global citizenship. So social sciences is a very special faculty in that it already has a requirement, a graduation requirement in the BSOC side of 12 credits of social innovation, which is basically an internship, and 12 credits of global citizenship, which is anywhere in the world. Both of those must be fulfilled. So that's a very special program within the university. And so what's said about that, the requirement for social sciences students to go beyond Hong Kong, yes, that does exist. That does exist for BSOC-side students, and it is a graduation requirement within that program. That's pretty much unique within the university. Other faculties, for instance, science does have an experiential learning graduation requirement. But I don't think it has to be global. I think it could be in Hong Kong. So there are different, and we're a very decentralized institution. So at the faculty level, even at the program level, there can be different requirements. But none of these can be read into a compulsory requirement for the whole of the institution. You know, we have program boards, we have departments and faculties that decide their own way forward, given the nature of the discipline and given the kind of learning that they want their students to gain.
Good afternoon, Professor. Good afternoon. I think one of the main concerns of what International One Mainland program is that the target to all students that you mentioned in Hello Dinner or later on in your report that you are still targeting all Hong Kong students. And what other episode we mentioned that some students would like to join in this program. But however, take me as an example. I'm a BA and B education student that major in Chinese education, and I was in the immersion program that took place in Beijing last summer. And in my program, that in fact at least 20 out of 30 of our students do not want to have that immersion program. So I don't know how much feedback that you gain from the students that come back from the immersion program or the program that they maybe exchange or they got experience in China. So however, I don't think the feedback from the experience from China is good. So why is that you're still targeting all students in your future plan?
Thanks very much. We do gather a lot of feedback. I don't know the specifics of your case, but we have, and all of you know this because you're forever filling out the forms for us online, but we have SETTLE, which is the Student Evaluation of Teaching and Learning for All Courses, and then we have SLEQ, the Student Learning Experience Questionnaire, which give us abundant data on the entire, well, SETTLE is course and teacher, and SLEQ is program and Hong Kong U as a whole, the whole experience. So all the way up, from courses and teachers all the way up to the total experience, we're gathering data on an annual basis. For instance, undergraduate students fill out the SLEQ at the end of year 1, year 2, and year 4. So we have many, many mechanisms for picking up student feedback, and I visit every faculty armed with that data. It's 2 inches thick per faculty on the SLEQ. It is not only the numbers, 80% this, 20% that, it's also all the qualitative comments. You know, in the SLEQ we ask you, what did you especially like? What did you especially dislike? We give you no other prompt. We don't say about teaching and learning. It could be about hall life, it could be about the restaurants, it could be anything. And I go through every single one of those comments, and then I sit down with the dean, the program leaders, the associate deans, and anybody else who wants to come along, and we talk through what the issues are and how the faculty is going to address them. So they then send me an action plan. So we do have mechanisms for that. In education, I don't know whether you gave that feedback formally. There are also, of course, informal routes. Have you spoken to the dean? Have you spoken to the program leader? These are all mechanisms which exist for giving back, for feeding back. And we have a constant monitoring of our off-campus provision. We also have programs in other parts of the world that are not always perfect. So we've had, you know, when I was Dean of Social Sciences, I opened up the GCSI requirement. And as part of the SI, the social innovation, in my first year that became a graduation requirement, we formed 80 community partnerships. So 80 different organizations we built a partnership with for social innovation and for students to get credit. Now, of course, not every one of the 80 was perfect. Some of them did not meet our expectations. And so we either had a consultation with the partner to see how they could improve, or we simply curtailed that partnership and found another one. Now the faculty has well over 100 such partnerships. So this is a constant issue, whether it's in Hong Kong, in the mainland, overseas. We have to monitor these partnerships. They're beyond our direct control. This is not the same as delivering a course in LE1 of our own campus. That is something which is much easier for us to audit and monitor and control. With community partners, expectations can often be extremely different. What they think we mean by the relationship is often different from what we think we mean. And so it's a very iterative learning process, and we go through it with all of our partnerships. So, you know, this is just the name of the game when you look off campus. Every university would face it. I think Albert's probably got some, you have some experience? No.
So thank you for your answers, and I got one more question that's really related to the partnership that you mentioned about. The main concern is what in situations that in fact the whole program would take the responsibility. For example, like when I've been to Beijing and the program, the immersion program, in fact was, in my opinion, is totally responsible by the Beijing Normal University. No matter the administration, the teaching process, assessment process. But however, how could Hong Kong to monitor the whole stuff? I mean, when we are going to have an exchange program or we are having experience program out there, and But you may have your interaction with partnership universities and they will get a good feedback for you. And of course the student will say, oh, it's not good or it's good, but however you say it's a whole branch of expectation, a whole branch of consideration. So how would you assess and what in fact in your program, the One China, One International program, so it is responsible by Hong Kong U, or you just simply give the responsibility to your partnership university? And it is the main concern of Hong Kong U students. For example, if we been to a Beijing university, like what you mentioned in Taipei Podium, like China law courses that law faculty will offer to the students. So we are going to learn the law system in China, but why we have to learn the corruption of China, or we learn the other things of China? So what is the main concern of if you are asking in all Hong Kong students going to mainland?
I think what is being planned in law is for our professors to teach China law in China. I had a conversation with them about a month ago, and I think that's the plan for that specific one. But yes, I mean, it genuinely is a partnership in that we don't have total control over what our students do when they undertake a learning opportunity with another organization. You know, it's not that we send a colleague there who is 24/7 monitoring what's going on in that organization. Of course not. And that's true whether it's an exchange program with another university or an internship with a community-based organization. All of those, we have to have some trust in the partner, and that's what the partnership is all about. But at the same time, we do monitor. I know that in social sciences, I haven't looked into the detailed monitoring arrangements in every single faculty, but in social sciences, we get written reports from, this is say for an internship, written reports from students, written reports from the community partner, and written reports from our own academic mentors. So if you go to an internship in social sciences, you will have a workplace mentor and an academic mentor. All of these people report back, and all of that is monitored by the program committee. So we have, you know, we are overflowing with paperwork and with reports which deal with all of these things. And as I said, if we're not satisfied, if the student experience is not good, then we either seek to work with the partner to make it better, or we move to a different partnership. And that is always our approach.
Good afternoon, Professor. I'm a law student. I think I speak for most people when we're going to say I'm relieved that this plan is not mandatory. But, or as should I say, there's no intention to make it compulsory. But as you say, 7 years is a long time. And I know we can't hold you to any sort of binding agreement here, but can you say that in 2022, the students will not be, somehow coerced to join this plan?
All I can say now is that nobody in the senior leadership of the university has any intention of going down that path. It hasn't been a part of our deliberations in developing this vision of global citizenship with China knowledge. We've never talked in those terms.
Hello. Good afternoon, Professor Holliday. I'm Oscar. I have one question to you. At the high table dinner organized by the HKUSU deadline, you said that if you don't want to go to China, don't come to Hong Kong U. You did say that, right? I find it very arrogant and disrespectful to students, because you are forcing students to go to China. And a lot of Hong Kong U students, they come to Hong Kong U is exactly because they do not want to go to China. The Hong Kong U is different from China. Hong Kong U is not mainland. This is the period of shame in London. If Hong Kong U is somehow getting mainlandized, then period of shame would not stand here. I hope that you can understand what Hong Kong students are thinking and do not show any arrogance again. And at last, I hope that you can apologize for what you said that night.
I'm happy to apologize again. I apologized in the meeting on Monday afternoon, which was carried live on Campus TV. I apologized in front of the reporters and the television cameras straight after that meeting. And I sent a message to absolutely every member of the Hong Kong U community, students, colleagues, alumni and friends that night. And all of them contained the apology. I don't know the exact form of words, but I said something like that. In making that apology, I also said that my greatest regret was that I wanted to say something positive, which was that we know that students have choices, that we understand that when students look at Hong Kong U as their potential university of choice, they're also looking at other universities. And they want to understand what the learning experience is going to be like if they come here. So the point I was trying to make was that we would always seek to be as transparent as possible, that we will always seek to make it very evident. When for instance, I was Social Sciences Dean, and we brought in a graduation requirement of social innovation, global citizenship, we made that actually the defining identity of the faculty. I still have a mug which has got the design of the world with social innovation, global citizenship written over it. That is still the badge of identity of the Faculty of Social Sciences. Because we wanted everybody to know, if you come to social sciences and you do the BSOC Sci, this is part of what we believe in. This is part of how your education is going to unfold. So, as I said, I really wanted to make a more positive statement that we seek to respond to the choice and the opportunity that we know students have by being as transparent as possible. But I'm happy to apologize again. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
I hope that because lots of students, they find there are a huge difference between what you said that night and after the overall main student dissatisfaction with that quote. So I hope that today you are not making any false promises or any lies. I hope that is the true intention of the university, and I hope that you can understand why there is a strong mistrust between students and the university. Because in the first place, it is you that created that mistrust. And I don't want to say you again, I just want you to understand how the situation is going on. And I also hope you to understand why students are so concerned about the incident, and they feel that kind of distrust in the mainland too, because of the political situation in Hong Kong. Some of our students are chanting for Hong Kong independence. Some of our students are chanting for down the Communist Party. Who will know what happens in 5 years and 10 years? Nobody expects the umbrella revolution too. So what about China may fall in 5 years? Or what if Hong Kong gets independence some years later? So given that political context, what you are suggesting here today that we must know more about China, we must connect with China, to be wrong. Because nobody knows what China will, the next step of China. So what I can suggest will be that we must be internationalized citizens. But whether we must be with a lot of China experience, I'm not sure.
Thanks very much. Yes, I do understand, and I understand that it'll take time to rebuild trust with the students. I fully understand that. That's why I'm keen to meet with you as much as possible. I asked to meet with the EXCO on Monday. I was happy to respond to the invitation to be with you here today. I was thinking that our first chance to do this would probably be in September, but it's good to get the chance today. As I say, our vision is the global citizenship with China knowledge. We are committed to that, but we're also flexible in taking it forward.
Professor, yeah, I just want to comment on the program and what I knew since the last Haking dinner. I do believe that Hong Kong students should have the international view, or maybe they should know more about China. But I think the pillars of Hong Kong U, the first thing is the freedom, and the second thing is the mutual respect between teachers, and students. In these issues is mainly just like a professor, you carelessly to say something like, if you don't want to go to China, don't come to Hong Kong U. That is a really a great, I don't want to use humiliation, but it's kind of humiliation to the Hong Kong U students that that you don't respect Hong Kong U students, or you don't respect the perspective, the incoming Hong Kong U students. You decide everything for them. There are some programs, like my program, that the EDB restricted us, we have to go back to China. But it is not all programs. For example, you can't ask the English education student go back to China to learn English. It is nonsense, right? So I think whenever the school have to have a new policies or what they want to establish in the future year, they have to consult us for sure. This is what we treasure. We treasure our mutual respect. We treasure we build Hong Kong together. We treasure it is the castle of freedom in Hong Kong. So I think this is the main problem that what this all, like why we having this open forum, why there's so much pressure after you saying something like that. And I think you have to be really careful about what is going on in the next step, especially on this plan and the other plans like in future the school want to take.
Thanks very much. Yes, I think it's really the same answer as I just gave. That I was really meaning to say something much more positive. That we want people looking at Hong Kong U as a potential 4-year learning experience to understand what that's going to entail in great detail. So once again, I apologize for that.
As you have mentioned that you are guided by student opinion, then I would like to show you the student opinion here. And may I have all your attention, please? If anyone here want to show your disappointment to the previous attitude from the university. For example, only a few consultations before introducing this program, and Professor, your inspiring speech in Haking, please raise your hand, please. If anyone here want to show your greatest disappointment to previous attitude from the university, please raise your hand. Then this is the student opinion, and I hope you can promise that you will really follow the student opinion and respect our faith. Thank you.
Professor, and as mentioned in earlier time of today's forum, we just said something like the decision and development of the university is made collectively. Actually, I agree with you. But the development of the university is not just made by SMP. It's also made by students, alumni, and any party of the university. And before the One International One Mainland plan was made and was handed in to the UGC, the program, the plan, we didn't consult students' opinion and popular. And as we see, the outrage of students and today's opinion is showing that we are opposing the idea, especially on the mainland part. And I don't know what's your definition of collegiality or the governance of between students and teaching staff, but I think the part is, before any plan of university made, it should be properly consult our students. Why students concern so much on this issue? Because the resources for the university is limited. When there is resources increasing in one part, that must be a decrease in another part. So when you are focusing on development of the university in future time on this One International One Mainland plan, that means that there will be a decrease of resources in other parts. I don't know what part it is, but I think this is actually affecting the future development of students, and students' opinion should be consulted before the plan is submitted to the UGC. I think it's kind of arrogant or unrepresenting that Do you think that the ADP is just representing the SMP or the university, and we don't need to consult this opinion? Because you said that in the Monday meeting that the UGC commitment is made by the university and not on behalf of students. And to be honest, I cannot agree with the statement.
Thanks very much. As I said at the very beginning, I am keen to find ways to supplement our current mechanisms for involving students. So students are represented on Senate, and the ADP is a Senate policy. I think the role of the SMT is obviously to provide leadership and to try to drive the university forward. So of course the SMT was responsible, working with the faculties, for drafting the ADP and presenting it to Senate and for making the case for the ADP. But ultimately the decision on the ADP was taken by Senate as a whole, which does have student representation both at the undergraduate and the postgraduate level. But as I said at the beginning, I'm keen to find ways to supplement that. And I'm keen, particularly on this issue, to find ways of working together. Once I've done my stock take and we've got a lot of data, working together to move forward on all of these issues. So on the whole, we can do better in terms of student consultation. I entirely agree with you.
My name is Haking, and I'm an international student. What I feel is like the attitude of students here in this particular forum is kind of unruly as well. Like just for the first time at HKU, I feel that people respect the professors, even though if they're wrong. Like I've been to exchange programs to other universities where people kind of come forward, express the concern. But at HKU, I always felt that people are much more respected towards their professors. And what I'm seeing right now over here, the attitude of the local students towards this issue is kind of unruly itself. Like they are rather rude to the professor. Even like Professor Ian Holliday has mentioned his own opinion. It's fine, like and he after all apologized. So like why stretch this whole debate? And on this open debate for like the exchange to mainland China, I feel that it's a good initiative. And I propose that not only exchange to China should be compulsory, but it should be like advised that everyone should go out to exchange to at least one country, like go out to exchange internationally. Not only China, but like it should be a part of curriculum. Like the university should push people to go to exchange. Like for my own exchange program, I felt that at HKU we have good relationship with other universities, and we must take full opportunity of this good relationship, and we must go out and learn. But I feel like the local students are too reserved and too narrow-minded in their approach because they haven't seen the world outside. So the proposal by Professor Ian Holliday to go to China was to broaden our mind, broaden our horizons. But like you are kind of taking it in the wrong perspective that you are being dominated by the Communist Party in China. That was not the point. But the point was, I think, to gain more maturity in your thinking ability. Because you guys are like only thinking the Hong Kong perspective or not, like your local perspective. So like to take it in a very narrow mind, just to take that small sentence that it should be compulsory, or if you are not welcoming to go to China, you should come to HKU, and that little phrase of Professor Ian Holliday in a bad sense, and base your whole argument on that one kind of a missed comment, that's kind of unjust in this part, because I think we as HKU students, we kind of respect our professors to utmost order. And I think like people over here are being too rude and too unruly with their attitude to this issue.
I just want to give a feedback to the student who has just talked. I think he has been here for around 30 minutes also, and he didn't really listen to what we said. And I guess people are not very happy with the professor because he did make some inappropriate statement. And I'm the alumni, and I've been to many places in the world to work, and I can tell him for sure that like going to China is not going to open your mind for sure, because people there are very narrow-minded as well. So I think like what he said is not very comprehensive. And another thing I want to tell Albert is, you have mentioned that you are very cautious about the safety of the students going to China or other places in the world. But I want to emphasize that it's always not enough, because I want to share with you a real-life example. I have a friend who worked as the deputy head of Middle East office in HSBC, and he ran into a car accident a few years ago in China. And even with the resources as big as HSBC, we failed to rescue him simply because he didn't have enough money in his back pocket. And the author's friend refused to save his life on spot. So even if you've done a lot to make sure that like students will be safe, I am pretty sure that the resources in Hong Kong will not be as much as HSBC. So please do a little bit more, or tell the students publicly what you have done or what you're going to do before you try to expand the program further.
Thank you for your reminder. Of course, we can always do more, and that's why I mentioned that we just engaged every using a bit of university resources with the international SOA to ensure that our help is instant and on the spot. We have encountered a lot of issues or accidents, as I said earlier on, student sports accidents, injuries and all that. We learn from every experience, and in the following time, when we plan, we do better, hopefully. And before students go, we also tell them all the safety precautions and what sort of help, what sort of, for example, hotlines, what sort of immediate partner who can help them. All such information is provided to them. Accidents are accidents. We do all our safety measures, we do our precautions, and we ensure that we can evacuate them as quickly as possible. But I cannot promise 100% safety. No one can. Well, I can promise that we will do our very best to protect our students, and if something happens, immediate help will be available.
Good afternoon, Professor Holliday and I'm here to speak. And as I mentioned before, that the university is a lot of time away students who want to go exchange. But the fact is that the current exchange programs have certain requirements mainly on the academic performance of students. So how could you proceed to ensure the quality and the ability of students going out representing Hong Kong? So how could you guarantee that each and every one of the students gets equal opportunity to be benefited from this project?
Thank you. I was not particularly referring to exchange programs because my office does not handle exchange. It is handled by the registry. But anyway, I will make some general comments. If we say, okay, we lack confidence in our students, some of students are not good enough to be representing Hong Kong in either exchange programs or other learning opportunities, then I would say it is my colleagues and my responsibility to get them up to par, to get them better prepared. Rather than say this particular group of students are not good enough, so that we are not going. I don't believe in that. I would say if that is indeed the case, then let's gear up. Let's do all the things we could so to prepare them for living up to the standard that we want them to achieve. We are not lowering the standard, but our job is to raise them to that standard. We turn away students is something we don't want to do. You mentioned that our school programs are basically based on GPA, but there are many other learning experiences which are not based on GPA. There are many learning experiences that are actually planned and executed by student societies or individual students themselves. And some of them are actually doing something for other students. For example, we have many student NGOs, student social enterprises on the campus. We have member societies of the student union, like the Chinese Education Group mentioned by Professor Holliday. They organize programs for other students to join. They even raise funds to sponsor other students to join. We think all this should be encouraged and enhanced. Regarding equal opportunities, we are very mindful of that. Students raise the issue of our financial resources. So when they go out, students can testify that. I have mentioned that to them as well, because I don't really want to see not even one student who would hesitate to apply for, say, exchange program or, say, for any kind of other learning opportunity just because he or she is worried about financial resources. And unfortunately, we have those cases. Okay, and that's why we have been working very hard to put in different university bursary schemes. A few years back, we put on a scheme called the First in the Family Education Fund. Okay, all these are programs that we try to ensure that no one is excluded, okay, from any learning opportunity due to the lack of financial means. We have a long way to go, I can tell you. Raising donations is not particularly easy these days, but we have to mobilize all the alumni network, all the community network that we have on hand to make sure that every student will have the equal opportunity, and when they have the wish, the university is able to fulfill their wish.
Professor Holliday and Professor Chau, I think one misconception between the international students just spoken and what we have expressed is that we oppose the plan not because of one mainland plan. If the plan's name is one international, one in the States, or one international, one in the Kingdom plan, we still oppose. We can't see why we have to travel to mainland here. The compulsory learning experience. Well, now it's not compulsory, but we still can't understand why mainland is in the same level as the international level. We do believe that we have to broaden our international horizon. We have to broaden our field. But why we have to have the same level between the international level and the mainland level? We think this is not comparable. For example, if we are in Hong Kong, we are in a culture that, in fact, we have most Chinese culture in Hong Kong than in mainland China. So why we have to go back to China to learn so-called Chinese culture? Why we can't to have more research, more education, more education in Hong Kong, for example. In Hong Kong, we've got a lot of good Chinese professors that they are good in Chinese culture. So what the main concern of the students' body here is concerning why we have to choose mainland as compulsory, as we mentioned before, or it's not compulsory, but in the plan it's still the same level as international. So I think it has to be clarified by Professor Holliday why it's mainland, why it is so important.
I did mention at the very beginning of one of the first few questions I was asked was just like that. And what I said is that we have a superb strategic opportunity to make use of not only our geostrategic position, but also the networks, the contacts, all of the opportunities that we've built up over the years already in mainland China, give us a chance to go further with that. We can put on far better internship programs, other programs in mainland China than almost any other university in the world. And we feel that we should make use of that opportunity. Mainland China is not important only for Hong Kong students. Across Asia, some people here will know, I mentioned this on Monday, some people will know that I work on Burma or Myanmar. And Burma is just coming out of 50 years of dictatorship, and its students finally have some of the freedoms that we have here in Hong Kong. And a lot of them want to learn in Hong Kong U precisely because they will simultaneously learn about both China and the world. That is what is alluring in Hong Kong U to them. That's what they see when they look at Hong Kong U. They see that they're going to be able to gain China knowledge and also the global citizenship that I've talked about. So, across much of Asia, countries that have borders with China, countries that don't have borders with China, nevertheless, people want to understand China because it's an empirical fact that many of our students are going to deal with China for the rest of their lives.
So it may be the last question because our Professor Holliday will be having another meetings at 2. Is there any last question? So if the floor doesn't have any last question, maybe again we are thank you Professor Holliday and Dr. Chau for coming for this open and actually you have
Just say thank you very much for the opportunity to keep talking.
It is having great time that having your representatives to explain the One International, One China policy to our students, and many of our students have given the feedback. And actually, we would like to keep a close relationship with the school between the school and the unions to have an intellectual exchange, whether the plan, how should the plans go on, or actually how to plan. Is there any other further amendments to this plan? Actually, could be done later on. So thank you everyone, and hope that if any further opinions I would like to transfer to the school, actually where the union is welcome all students to express their view in any time. Thank you.